massive hit. Oh, they've clipped. Off. How he held on to that, I don't know. This is the biggest crash in RGL history. He's out of control and into the wall. Brace yourselves, this is going to be action-packed. Hi and welcome to the RGL Forza Championships for 2013, and this is the V8 Supercar Series round 4. Got 6 more to go after this one, and we're rocking it out at Sunset Peninsula Raceway, and this amphitheatre of tracks has a few segments through the middle of the traditional oval layout. Couple of areas like this one here with wall-to-wall action before you head out into the open stretches and back around onto the big sweeping bend and massive straight where the drivers will get up to almost 300 kilometers an hour. So looking back, we have seen yet again some dominance from R Bretley and Twistie Corners. The last round going to R Bretley, and once again these guys have qualified rather well and looking to battle it out once again. And we've also had, you're watching in, he had the mishap incident with Catters and Ninja. He got caught up in that, and since in the last couple of rounds placing rather low on the positions, so he's starting to fall away a little bit, but they are still poised for their constructors title at this rate. Now look at qualifying, and once again Bretley up at the top. Again, a very, very, very close margin between him and Twistie Corners. Would have been an awesome qualifying session to witness. Meanwhile, Catters has qualified very strongly in third, not far behind them at all, along with Jake Moe from the Dude 67 Race Shop, with Highboy for Taztec just behind his partner there, Recoil. It'll be the first time where they haven't paired up on the grid. You're watching in 8th position. Alcimo not qualifying as strongly as what he would like. His championship defence is looking shakier every round. Meanwhile, the APRT Queensland boys lock out row 6, and Scavenger and Pistol Fit form the rear end of the grid. Let's get this race underway. 3 lights are on, and off they go. Very pedestrian start almost. No jumps or anything like that. Everyone getting away rather evenly, but around this big sweeping corner. The second turn here is going to be tricky. This is where it could get ugly. A couple of double files going through. Everybody behaving very well at the moment, and it looks as though everyone's got through cleanly. And meanwhile, Twistie Corners, I believe, got the jump on R Bretley. Whoa, and I believe that was Jake Moe just cutting over that chicane like there was no chicane there. Back on track, Ninja putting the pressure on. No recoil here. Taztec Motorsports, and it looks as though Twistie Corners has got his revenge back from the DBS race with the El Caminos, where he qualified on pole position and lost first place to R Bretley after the first few corners and could never gain it back. Perhaps that'll be the story here for Twistie. Meanwhile, and here we are out in front now. Twistie Corners showing dominance this season. R Bretley obviously his next closest rival, and we are headed for one cracker of a championship battle between these two if it continues. Up onto the big sweeping corner here. Catters and Jake Moe in 3rd and 4th at the moment. Now we have 12 laps to go. 11 laps at the completion of this one now. And the field's fairly well spread. Yeah, it's interesting to note just those different lines, the different approaches in particular on this track. Drivers take a couple of different lines, and Twistie, no surprises there, with the fastest lap so far. And just coming out of turn 7 into the 8, 9, 10 chicane, where drivers have been warned to be very careful. Oh, Twistie's just tapped the wall there. And Bretley right up on the inside, he's looking for a pass. I don't know that there's enough room. He's backed away there. I think that could have ended in a bit of a mess. And Twistie managed to block the line off well and truly as they head down the back straight. And into turn 14. And Bretley just, again, look at that slightly different line that sends him out a little bit wider, but he is right on the back of Twistie. And once again, Caddis and Jake Mo hold third and fourth positions at the moment. Now it's got to be said, it's unbelievable the ability between these two to continue to put out the fastest laps in the field at the same time as handling the pressure of each other, trying to look for a way to pass, not making a mistake. Fia Bretley now at the fastest lap, and you can see that now he's made some big gains on Twistie over that last lap, and he's got a pretty good run out there. Perhaps Fia Bretley's got a little bit of a better handling vehicle. He's gone for a little less top end speed, looking for better handling through the corners. And it seems as though Twistie's just got that little bit better traction coming out of those tight turns. Just coming in turn 11, he's looking for an inside line again, cutting right across the corner to avoid contact. So he's really looking for a way past. He is currently lapping a little bit quicker than Twistie, so one wonders whether or not he might drop in the pit now and try and get the undercut, or stay out with Twistie just a little bit longer. And it looks like Caddis is still in third, but perhaps Jake Mo's made a pit entry. We've got a replay here. This is pistol fit. Oh, he's clipped the wall and just tapped into the other wall and spun out. So he was coming 13th, and now he's dropped right back in the last spot, well and truly. Back on board with these two, fighting it out for first and second. And Fia Bretley once again just trimming a little bit more off his previous fastest lap. Now on board with Recoil and Ninja. Ninja starting to apply even more pressure to the Taztec Motorsport driver. Ninja again, another one that's had some unlucky runs, qualifying well, putting himself in a pretty good position and getting tangled up in some incidents. Could have been a very different story when it came to his championship run. And that's, oh, Recoil into the wall, into the tyres, and that's managed to rescue that. He hasn't spun that out, so he's lost a position but not a lot of time, so he's just got to gather himself and find his rhythm and get back into it. Looking at the 9394 Studios leaderboard, Jake Mo has pitted, that's why he's disappeared from 4th position, and Ninja's now filled that spot after making the pass on Recoil. Meanwhile, Gundam, Queensland Rum Runner and Go Hard are big movers, which will be due to a number of people taking their pit stops there. As you can see, Highboy, you're watching, and Jake Mo. Meanwhile, Scavenger has actually gained in position. Pistol Fit started in last, got into 13th by looking before he clipped that wall, and is now well and truly behind the field. And Alcimo has dropped 4 spots and not in the pit lane, so we might have to find out what happened there. Hopefully we'll get something soon. Meanwhile, we have You Watch, and I believe we're now looking at, and no Recoil, so this Looks to be a close one. Twistie Corners got into the sub 130s by the narrowest of margins there with the next fastest lap, and has powered on strong. But you're watching and Recoil battling out here for potentially 5th and 6th, I believe, and this is going to be very close indeed. Highboy's in pursuit of you watching as well. Coming around the corner, he's got a lot of pace here, and no recoil. Taking inside line. Oh, contact! You're watching into the wall. We'll get another replay. That is disaster, and no recoils. Ping to the fence. And you're watching now has some damage. He's going to have to make the call whether he goes and gets some repairs or not. And here is F34R Bretley still on the back end of Twistie, looking for a way past. Here's that replay. So you're watching bottom of your screen. So he's gone in for the normal line. Recoil has tried to hold position, and this is on board with Highboy. So you see the contact there. Highboy looking to evade, but then gets caught up and gives his teammate a tap into the wall and gets himself stuck. Scavenger beneficiary. This is Alstom. Oh, and he's clipped the wall. Massive crash. That was huge, and that is why he's dropped so many spots. So the Nerd Motorsport guys seem to be drawn to that tyre barrier. Alsimo coming out second best. Meanwhile, F34R Bretley shaving a little bit more off Twistie Corners' previous fastest lap and still harassing the APRT Victorian driver. So yeah, what to make of that incident with you watching and Recoil. Looks as though, again, we've seen this before, where just a small amount of communication may make a big difference in regards to that. And I think you watching perhaps from his side may have thought he was well and truly past Recoil given his speed. But anyway, that's racing. Incidents will happen, tempers will flare, and keep on pushing on. Recoil, I believe, has stayed out, and you watching has entered the pit again to get repairs done to his Commodore. So that'll put him a fair way back. And just previously speaking about his run of bad luck with a few incidents, seeing him at the back end of the field, and once again he's there. So he'll be hoping for a better round next time. On board now with Highboy, being pursued by Scavenger, who's been a beneficiary of Alsimo going off at turn 1, and as well as with the crash between you watching and Recoil. And he's doing pretty well to stick with Highboy, and now Twistie Corners returns to serve with another fastest lap. So just amazing that these guys again can continually punch out the fastest laps, all the while having to deal with the pressure from each other, battling it out. Normally drivers tend to lose time when this happens. And the 711 Twistie Motorsport Falcon just keeping ahead of Scavenger. Scavenger must have a little bit more pace down that straight because he's ranged up on the back of him. Well, they've both gone a bit wide at turn 1. That's a bit of a no-go zone there. Stewards are watching that for excessive abuse, where drivers will go wide to maintain higher speeds. Back out at front here, the leaders. He's still yet to pit, so they're going to have to start thinking about that pretty soon. And that, I believe, was you watching that they've passed and lapped. Again, once they pit, you watch them will drop back out ahead of them. And there we go, F34R Bretley first to make the move in the pit lane. It's all or nothing here for Twistie. He has to get this lap nailed, and F34R Bretley needs to do the same on his out lap. So only 4 laps remain. And Twistie keeping it pretty clean, nice and neat, well measured racing. He knows what he's got to do to get the right times in order to defend this lead. Heading into turn 11, and then turns 12 and 13 with the chicane as it moves on down to turn 14. Now it looks as though Twistie's got a back marker up ahead. I believe that might have been either Pistol Fit or Elsimo, getting a glimpse there. So he won't want to stay out too much longer if he's starting to catch them. And I do believe it would be wise for him to go with the pit stop straight away. But let's just wait and see what he decides to do. Yep, he's going in the pit lane. This is it. There goes your watching, just flash past the screen. Now we're on board with R Bretley while Twistie is in the pit lane. It is a very long pit stop. The pit lane is extremely long. When the drivers do come out, you might not have realised when recoil came out, the drivers must stay on the right hand side of the lane as they exit the pit and wait for the track to be clear. Was hopefully, and obviously try and avoid any incidents if drivers would come straight out onto the track. Here we go, Twistie Corners reaching the marker. Now he can join the track when it's clear. He's got this well and truly covered, though Bretley will range up on the back of him under brakes. Well, Bretley just a little bit wide, really pushing there. He wanted that spot, but he couldn't quite get it. And Jake Mo and Catters still battling out for third and fourth. Jake Mo all over the back of the Screwdriver Racing Young Gun, looking for a pass. He's going to do it under brakes here. Has he made it stick? That's the question. Both of them side by side. One of them's got to yield here, going into the chicane, and Catters has made the decision, and he's let Jake Mo through. But that's not all over with. And we'll just quickly check the leaderboard. You can see Ninja out in front, still yet to pit. He should shuffle him behind Catters most likely. And Gundam's made some pretty good moves into into sixth. He's moved up 4 places, and Scavenger has managed to get ahead of Highboy by the look of that. Apparently there was a 3-way battle there at one point, so we didn't manage to capture that. And Queensland runner in position 10, so he's doing well at the moment. Again, benefiting from the incident from recoil, and you're watching also Elsimo, Pistol Fit both going off. But we're looking to place a little bit higher if he can keep it together for the last couple of laps. And Jake Mo has managed to break away a little bit from Catters, so that fight might be over just yet. And Elsimo, you can just see on the right hand side of your screen, just moving over out of the road for these guys. His race is shot, and I dare say his championship title defence is shot too with that. I know there's still 6 rounds to go, but given the dominance of Bretley and Twistie Corners, Elsimo would have to bring his absolute best every round and hope for the worst luck for the other two. Ninja for HD Motorsport still yet to pit. Again, teaming up with Gundam 27, so now that they can at least make a bit more of a fight in the Constructors title, we'll bring you those results at round 5, the end of that race. We haven't done that yet so far this season, but we will get that info to you. So we're just following a Ninja into the pit lane. We want to see where he comes out versus Catters and Gundam and Scavenger. Somewhere in there he should fit in. And there they go now. So Ninja just now trying to get out. Oh, he's just crossed that line, but he's got out ahead of Gundam, and now Catters back at Jake Mo, almost a repeat of what we saw earlier, except those swap positions. So with another lap to go after this, oh, Jake Mo on 2 wheels. That was intense stuff. Heading through the chicanes. He's pushing that car to its absolute limit to stay ahead of Scatters. And it's a bit of a different livery to the first few rounds for Jake Mo 98. And now back in the front with our 2 leaders once again. And this has just gone on and on the entire race. Bretley just cannot push Twistie into a mistake and get past. He hasn't got enough speed to get past as it is. Twistie just doing an outstanding job, putting in very consistent laps. And Bretley just at the tail end of the race, posting a new fastest lap that only marginally faster than the previous, but once again they're still pushing each other to their limit, producing some very fast racing. Whoa, just a little bit sideways there for Bretley. Now it's his turn to try and throw everything at Twistie Corners on this final lap. And heading down the back straight for the final time into turn 14. And if Twistie can get his braking markers here correct, which he has, I can't see him losing it from here. So the story continues between these two drivers. Twistie Corners returns serve with another win in the 2013 season. Big congratulations to the APRT driver. Well done to Bretley. An awesome race between the two, producing some great laps. Good clean battle. Just a pleasure to watch. So we'll check out how the rest of the drivers went and the end of race results now. And we can see Jake Mo managed to stay ahead of Catters for 3rd place, and Ninja about 7 seconds behind those two, and then a big gap between Ninja and then Highboy, Scavenger and Gundam. Pretty close. They're having a great battle there. Go Hard doing pretty well in P9. Queensland Rum Runner managed to lose positions, and I think he only just managed to finish the race. And now we have a look at the leaderboard. We've changed up the look of this, and we can see Bretley 81 points behind Twistie at the moment, and then a big jump back to Recoil and Ninja. And Elsimo sitting in 5th, 214 points behind. Like I said, he would need a couple of miracles to go his way in order to really challenge these guys after failing to finish high up in this round. Thank you very much for watching, and we look forward to seeing you at round 5, which should be in a couple of weeks. Goodbye.